And inshallah, we're going to start fasting Ramadan. And when fasting Ramadan, Ramadan is a learning institution, literally is a learning institution. It's like a hands-on training because, we have temptations inside us and lower desire. And fasting causes pain because it deprives us from our temptations and desires. We feel the temptations make us tempted to eat, tempted to drink, tempted to do something which is, not decent, things like that. But when you are in Ramadan, you're fighting your temptations. Now, to fight your temptations, you need to have something called spiritual muscles. Spiritual muscles, meaning that the spiritual muscles are the muscles that will make you strong in resisting the temptations and submit to Allah. Allah wants you, it's one of the tests of Islam, tests of submission, where you will have to, and this test of submission, you will be submissive to show that you're submissive to your temptations, or you're submissive to Allah and the guidance from Allah and the love of Allah. These are the tests of submission. The choices you're going to make and the actions you're going to do will show you where you submit the temptations or to Allah. So in order to be able to resist, you need to train that spiritual exercise, that spiritual muscles that will allow you to pass this test of submission and decline the desires and temptations and follow the orders of Allah and stop and drink. That is the first thing you train during Ramadan. The second thing you train is that not only that you know how to say no to your temptations, but also you are practicing fasting from halal things. Drinking is halal. Eating is halal. Okay? But you are demonstrating your ability to stay away from the halal in Ramadan. So what about the haram then? If you're able to stay out of the halal, then that will make you stronger to stay out of the haram. You've proven that you already can stay away from halal stuff, which are halal to do outside of Ramadan. That will make you even stronger in staying away from haram stuff after Ramadan is over. So the other thing is that, let's say, if the daytime of Ramadan, it is easy that you sneak into the refrigerator, you open the door, you start eating and drinking, and then closing the door, cleaning your mouth and going out and say, I'm fasting today. Nobody is going to judge you. Nobody's going to judge you and say, okay, why didn't you fast? Why aren't you fasting? Because to them, they see you fasting. You cheated, okay? But why don't you cheat in fasting? Why? Because, of course, you know that you're not going to cheat Allah. Allah sees you. So when you are really fasting, nobody can tell if you are truly fasting other than Allah. Allah knows if you're truly fasting or not. It develops that consciousness. Okay, I'm not going to do that because Allah's watching me all the time. Okay, Allah is watching me all the time, and I'm not going to do that because He's watching me all the time. Okay, so it becomes a God consciousness kind of thing. It's like you're aware of the presence of Allah. Anytime you look at the tempting food and drinks or coffee or chocolate, you give this up for the sake of Allah. That's another That's another exercise you do in this training camp called Ramadan. Ramadan, when you fast, it causes pain. Okay, and when you're separated from your lovely drinks and you probably snack, you probably eat 3 meals a day and snack, like visit the kitchen to snack about 4 or 5 times a day. Now, there are people, believe it or not, there are people who are fasting 24/7, 365. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They are fasting. Why? Not because it's Ramadan for them. It's because they don't have anything to eat. They feel a pain, which is the pain of hunger, that you never experienced before, because you have a lot of resources and you were never unable to eat if you wanted to eat. But there are people who are fasting, and Allah wants you to feel the pain, to appreciate the blessing that Allah has given you, and in return, you're going to give them a charity and provide them more money and more food as a donation to them to relieve their suffering. Also, another thing, beautiful thing about Ramadan is the atmosphere that you live in inside the house, inside the masjid. The taste of Ramadan, it's Taraweeh prayers, community iftars. The Ramadan is so cozy. I feel Ramadan is very cozy, and it's very something that I really look up, okay? One good thing about Ramadan, about fasting, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that fasting is the special worship that I consider it's done for me personally, that I consider personally. So Allah considers all worship are from you, but He considers the fasting is His personal favorite worship. So why? Because Allah will tell the angels, do you see my slave? He has abandoned his desires, his food and drink and desires for my sake. Should I give him a reward less than Jannah for doing that? And of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He gives you, the only one that can prove that you're fasting is Allah. Okay? Nobody's watching you other than Allah. You can deceive, you can cheat anybody in fasting, and people will not know that you're not fasting. But Allah is the only one who can tell that you're fasting or not. So that's why Allah takes it personally. That's His personal favorite worship, which is fasting. And He says that I reward this, fasting is mine, the worship fasting is mine, and I am the one who's going to respond personally to it. Okay, so this is something very lovely. And you don't have to only fast Ramadan. You can also make Mondays and Thursdays, or like the bright moon, when the moon is full, 14th and 15th, 13th, 14th, 15th, or actually 14th, 15th, 16th, the lunar calendar, 3 days a month. This way you are, when you fast Ramadan, 30 days times 10, so that's 300 days. And then you fast 6 days from Shawwal times 10, so this is 60. So it's like you have fasted 360 days. Okay, 360 days, that's the year. So it would be like you have been fasting the whole entire year, and you get the rewards are recorded. As Allah said that the rewards are recorded and traced, like Allah will trace the reward meaning that if I teach you Quran, I will be rewarded and you will be rewarded. Then you teach Quran to your child, to your son will be rewarded. You will be rewarded, I will be rewarded. Then your son will teach it to your grandson will be rewarded, your son will be rewarded, you will be rewarded, I will be rewarded. And of course, there are other people who taught me Quran before, they would also be rewarded. It's like a tree under you, the people you taught, okay? And the reward all goes to the people who taught you. So the people you teach and the ones who taught you, it's all the recorded, it's all traced. Everybody gets, a portion of, not a portion, a copy, because Allah doesn't divide the reward. For example, if your reward is 100, okay, and somebody else's reward is 100, Allah gives you 100 and gives him 100. Gives a copy of the good deed, doesn't divide it, doesn't say that you take 5% and he takes 20% and you take 30%. No, everybody gets 100%. SubhanAllah, that's how generous is Allah. And with fasting, that is the deed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala personally loves. Okay, about zakah. Zakah is, I'm going to make it easy on you how to calculate zakah. But I need you to know before that Allah has given the provisions. Allah has divided provisions and shares among us, shares of life among us, shares of wealth, shares of happiness, shares of this, shares of that. Allah has divided them. And the shares for the poor people, Allah has given this to the rich people. So your income is not only your share, but your share and the share of the poor people. They're supposed to give them zakah. The reason Allah is giving it to you first as a test of submission to you, to see if you're going to give them, the poor people, their share, or you're going to be greedy and don't give them their share. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ said that every hungry, every overfed person, okay, there is another person that is starving. For every rich person getting fat, for every rich person that gets fat, there is another person who gets starved, who starves. Why? Because this rich person did not pay zakah. Okay, so, and zakah is a very difficult test, especially if you have a lot of money. I've heard stories about people, a guy who had like $1 million, and he went to the sheikh and he said, "Oh sheikh, how much zakah should I pay?" So the sheikh said 2.5%, and memorize this number, 2.5%. So he said, out of 1 million, 2.5% is 25,000. Did I do the math right? Okay, for every 1,000, there is 25. So for every, so that's 25,000, $25,000. So when the sheikh told him that your zakah is $25,000, he said, "What? $25,000? Are you crazy? What do you mean, sir?" He thinks that he goes around and he gives this guy $5 and this guy $100 and this guy $50, and he pays, puts in the box in the masjid like $100 or $200, and he thinks that's zakah. No, zakah has to be calculated. He couldn't believe, because sometimes for some people, they are rather die than lose money. There are people, when they spend money, they don't go to sleep. They can't sleep when they spend money. They get depressed. If somebody asks them for money, they get depressed and they just don't want to spend money. And there are people who would rather die than spending money. There are people like that. I've seen people like that. And for those people to get the zakah out of them is really hard. So it's a big test from Allah. It's a big, big, big test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to tell you about the rules of zakah, I'll make it easy for you. Whatever you come at one day in Ramadan, let's say we designate like Ramadan 1st, for example. This would be your annual year for paying zakah. You see how much money you have, okay? And how much other zakatable properties. And you take 2.5% and pay it. And that's the easiest way and the safest way, okay? There are so many conditions. If you get stuck with it, you can do an more accurate estimate of the zakah, but that requires a lot of bookkeeping. Okay, so to make it simple and easy, Ramadan 1st, 22.5% of your cash, 401k, IRA, 401k retirement funds, IRA retirement funds, cash you have in the bank, cash you have in the saving account, zakatable properties, and then you pay zakah on it. Now, of course, if you're farming, it's either 5% if you do the irrigation yourself, or 10% if Allah sends you rain and the land is irrigated by natural rain that comes from Allah. Then you pay 10% more because you basically got the rain you got watered the land for free from Allah, instead of you having a pump or something like that, or spending money to water the land. Mines, especially oil, it's 20%. Just imagine those oil-rich countries, if they pay 20% of the oil revenue for the poor and needy. Just imagine who's going to remain poor in these countries and the surrounding countries of the oil-rich Arab countries, Gulf countries that have a lot of oil. If they pay 20%, which is the zakah of the oil. The crops, you pay the zakah at the time of the harvest. Don't delay it. Allah says on the same day, separate your zakah on the same day. Put it aside. Put it aside on the same day, and it's better to give it away the same day. If not, just put it aside on the same day. Don't mix it with the rest. Okay? So now, what are the zakatable things? Zakatable thing, anything that you have not used for a year. Anything that has a value that you haven't used for a year. If you have an RV, recreational vehicle, for example, that you have in the garage that you haven't used for a year, you pay zakah on it. If you have a car that you haven't driven for a year, you pay zakah on it. Things that you use personally are not zakatable, like your home is not zakatable, your car is not zakatable. Anything that you use personally is not zakatable. Your jewelry or your wife's jewelry, okay, depends on what gender you are zakatable if you don't use it. But if you use it personally, okay. But if you don't use it and you're having it aside, saved, or like put aside, stored, then you pay zakah on it. And any tricks to play a game to evade zakah is considered to be a zakah. It's considered to be not paying zakah. Okay? For example, some sheikhs say that diamond is not zakatable. So people will say, okay, if diamond is not zakatable, then I can convert my cash into diamond so that I don't have to pay zakah on it. That's a trick. You're playing a game. Trick, technical. You're playing with technical terminology so that you can get away from not paying zakah. That would be considered as if you haven't paid zakah at all. So that doesn't get you out of the zakah. That basically tells you that you are not paying zakah, even though technically speaking, like for example, if you have a boat you haven't used for a year, but to evade paying zakah, You come on the last day of the year and you use the boat once. Say, now I've used it. It's not zakatable anymore. Any game like that you play to evade zakah, it's like you haven't paid zakah. Because these tricks and games don't work with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah knows your intention and you want to evade the zakah, and you're playing all these games so that you know you're technically correct. Now, the loans, if you owe someone money, you deduct this debt from your zakah. So if you owe somebody $50,000, okay, and you have $100,000, okay, so you only pay on the $50,000. Like if you have $70,000, you own somebody $30,000, then you pay only zakah on the $400,000 or the $40,000. I got confused. Anyway, from the zakat money, you take away the loan. But there are exceptions. Lifelong loans are not deductible. Do not deduct your lifelong loans from your zakah. Why? Lifelong loans like the home loan, okay, like the loan for the house you live in, that's a lifelong loan, okay? That takes a lot of time, okay? If you would deduct the amount you owe in your home from your money, from your zakah, you will never pay zakah for the rest of your life. And nobody will, most of people will not, because nobody owns his home. We all own, having mortgage on our homes, okay? We all mortgage our homes. So lifelong loans are not deducted from zakah. So you don't say, well, I have $100,000 cash, but my house, I have debt on my house, $500,000, so I'm not paying zakah. No, no. You pay zakah on the, you do not deduct home loans from the zakah or lifelong loans, okay? As long, and also if you overspend money, then your zakatable assets are going to decrease. And in this case, when your zakatable assets are less, this means that you have basically deprived poor people from your zakat because you are so extravagant, living a lavish lifestyle, and as a result you're always not keeping any saving, you're spending too much. This is also one thing that you need to keep in mind, that if you want to live that way, fine, but put aside money for the poor and needy, okay? That will, so that, you know, zakah is not only the amount you keep aside. If you're extravagant, estimate your charity so that it's more than the zakah, okay? To substitute for the money that you spend left and right, okay? But it is a hard test. And I know many people personally, not paying their, rich people not paying their zakah because they can't. They won't go to sleep at night if they pay money. In order to get them to pay $1 or to pay them $100, you know, you need a miracle. There are people like that. Worship of the money, worship of the wealth. That's a very difficult test of submission. And especially when the numbers go up. You know, that person had $1 million and he was shocked to hear that his zakah is $25,000. Okay. If that person didn't have that much money, he wouldn't have to pay that much zakah. It would have been easier on him. It would be much easier for him. But he accumulated $1 million and he doesn't want to pay. Think about the part that is remaining, not the part that you're paying. So think about it. Allah gave you $1 million. Okay. 25,000 of them to the poor and needy, and you still have the rest, 975,000. Think of the amount that you keep, not for the amount you spend. Allah is saying 2.5%. Okay, $25 in every $1,000. You pay 25 in zakah and you keep 975. I mean, that's a good deal, especially that everything is from Allah. Allah is the one who grants, Allah is the one who takes away, Allah is the one who, all the opportunities are in the hands of Allah. By the way, zakah brings barakah. Barakah means blessing. Blessing means increase of benefits. That's the definition of blessing. The increase of the benefits. For the same amount, you get more benefits. When you have a lot of barakah, you get more benefits for the same amount of money. And that's what is the benefits. I'll give you an example. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I swear by the name of Allah that charity will never decrease the wealth. Charity will never decrease the wealth. Now, people who don't believe that, I mean, you can get somebody arguing you and say, your prophet said charity never decreased the wealth. Okay, here is my calculator. I had $1,000. I paid 200 the charity. So what is left is 800. Tell me now, how can you explain that charity does not decrease the wealth? It's easy to explain. Barakah or blessed the money. Blessed the money means the same benefit, the benefit. So if you have $1,000 and you pay $20 zakah. Let's say, sorry, $200 zakah. Okay. So $200 zakah. The rest is going to be 800, right? Okay. But this 800 is going to have 100% blessings. 100% blessings means that the efficiency is be 100%. So the 800 times 100%, you get 800. So you have $1,000, you pay 200 in charity, 800 remain, but they would be blessed by Allah. So you get a benefit of 100%, 800. But if you decide not to pay zakah, so this is 1,000 here, and zero charity or zero zakah here, okay? You still keep $1,000, yes, that's for sure, but they will not be blessed. So there would be 60% blessings only. Then you end up having $600. So the person who gave up $200, he ended up having $800. And the person who did not give dollars, he ended having $600 at the end. You see that? You see this? Why? Because this factor here, efficiency, is the most barakah. Barakah, this is barakah, this is efficiency, this is blessing. This is the gift from Allah for paying zakah. This is the gift, and it's all in the hands of Allah. You can, especially, for example, the stock market nowadays. If Allah wants to make you a millionaire, has been a rapid changes in prices of stocks during the coronavirus events. Unbelievable. Like if you, like Zoom that we're using now, if you would have bought it on March, or like March, yeah, around March, it would have like been like $50 a share or $40 a share roughly. Now it's 600. Zoom, the software we're using now, it's $600 or $500 a share. So it's like If you would have had that, it means your wealth will be multiplied by 11 in what? In 8 months. Your wealth would less in 7 months, and your wealth would have been 10 times as much. 10 times. Okay. It's all in the hands of Allah. If Allah wants to make you rich or give you a gift, okay, Allah will let you guide you somehow to buy the stock of Zoom when it was March time. Allah will bring the thought for you, because if you're a talented person, you understand the market, then you will know that Zoom is going to be demanded very much during Corona for remote learning. Then this will make you think and say, okay, I'm going to buy Zoom shares. And then it's going to go up from like $20 into $500. Actually more than 10 times. Okay. And so the point I'm trying to make is that the opportunities in the hands of Allah, the blessings in the hands of Allah, nobody controls them. Blessings, blessed the money, blessings. Blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Now, what do I mean by 100% efficiency? 100% efficiency means that you really pay money and you get increased benefit, or you get the benefits that you get. But 60% meaning what? You pay money, let's say this $1,000. You ended up paying $200 for a traffic ticket, $150 for traffic school, $350 hospital medical bills, deductible. You're meeting your deductible. You still have to pay the first $5,000 from your pocket, out of your pocket money for high deductible. And then you just like something happens and you go to the doctor, and then you go to the emergency room, and here you go, a bill for $2,500. I just got a bill for a large amount of money that are not covered by the deductible. I had to pay it out of my pocket. All these things, if there is a time, I'll give you another example. If we can both spend the same amount of time and we get things done differently. Like I can be spending an hour and I get all my work taken care of. And you could be spending an hour and not even getting 20% of the work done. It's all blessings by Allah, blessing. He's the one who determines that factor. And it's the most important factor, blessings. The blessing, how much Allah's blessing your money with, okay? You wake up in the morning, if you have 100% blessings, you wake up in the morning, okay? If you don't have blessings, you wake up in the morning, okay? You go take a shower, there is no running water. Okay, you get out and you get dressed, you need to iron your shirt. Okay, you iron your shirt and then go out, you try to start the car doesn't want to run. You call AAA, by the time AAA come and changes the battery, okay, then you're ready to move the car, you turn on the car, you drive, here's a flat tire. Oh, you get AAA again for the flat tire, you hit every red traffic light on your way to the bank. You're going to the bank. And then when you get into the...
May I go to the bathroom?
Yes, you
Sorry.
can. That's okay. And then you go to the bank and you have a 45 minutes waiting line. Okay, that is when your blessings are 0% or like 10%. But if you are doing your zakah, you're fasting, okay, then you wake up in the morning, water heater is running fine, water is flowing, you take a shower, your clothes are ready, you take your clothes, you run your car, it runs, you drive, you hit every green light, and you go to the bank, it's only 4 minutes waiting line, it's all in the hands of Allah, all in the hands of Allah. So the smart one who thinks that he saved $200, he had 1,000 here, he didn't pay any charity. capital. Okay, start. Start here, and this is here, charity. Here, remaining. Here, effective. Do you see it now? You see it? That's what it is, and this one's capital. Effective. So that's the worth of the $1,000 with the charity is worth $800. The $1,000 without the charity is worth $600. So the winner is the one who does the charity, not only because he's looking into having more blessed money, but also because he loves Allah and he wants to show Allah that Allah is more dear to him than the money. Okay? So keep that in mind when you're paying zakah. Zakah and charity is not a penalty on you. No, it is a blessing. If you truly, truly deserve it, it would be a blessing. And this is why the Prophet Muhammad, he said, I swear in the name of Allah. Prophet Muhammad does not need to swear. He's always saying the truth. But he wanted to shock the denying human mind. I swear in the name of Allah that the charity would never decrease the wealth. Will never decrease the wealth. Not to mention about the other gifts. You pay a charity, maybe you get promoted at work, or you get a better job. You work at Google, for example, you found a job at Google or whatever, or you get promoted fast. Your supervisors get promoted, and he, takes you with him in the promotion up high. Allah helps you with a nice, kind spouse. Children are nice, obedient, doing well at school, good Muslims, behaving well, mannered. All these are blessings from Allah for the ones who care about the love of Allah. On the other hand, the ones who don't pay zakah, they get a decrease in they get, instead of getting promoted, they might not get promoted. And instead of having a good spouse, they might have terrible spouses. And instead of having good children, get bad children. They learn drugs and do terrible things. And instead of being happy, is miserable. The one who does not pay zakah is harming himself. And if he knows how much he's harming himself, he would have never done it to himself at all. Never done it to himself at all in not taking away, keeping his zakah, thinking that the zakah is going to eat the money. But no, the zakah will feed the money, not eat the money. Okay. Now, the last pillar of Islam is Hajj. Now, Hajj, people travel for many reasons. Like people travel to crowded places for many reasons. For the World Cup, for example, for games, competition, Olympics, people gather and go to very crowded places, and they do go for fun. Muslims do travel and go to crowded places, but for the sake of Allah. And the trip of immigration, the trip of Hajj has changed the lives of so many people. I have here to show you how the trip of Hajj changed the life of people. Okay, I am going to switch from, okay.
How the Hajj pilgrimage impacted the American culture, the American civil rights, and the American identity. Malcolm X was a civil rights leader who fought for the civil rights of the Afro-American people. Hajj changed Malcolm X by showing him real racial harmony in Islam, ending his belief that all white people were evil, turning him toward Orthodox Islam, shifting his message to global human rights. He used X because it represented the African name his ancestors lost. It rejected the slave name Little. It symbolized freedom, identity, and dignity. How the Hajj changed Malcolm X. When Malcolm X went to Hajj in 1964, it transformed his views about race, Islam, and humanity. Before Hajj, he was a prominent leader in the Nation of Islam, NOI, which taught that white people were inherently evil and that black people should live separately. But on Hajj, he saw something completely different. 1. He saw Muslims of all races living as equals. In Mecca, Malcolm saw white, black, Arab, Asian, and European Muslims, all dressed the same, eating together, praying together. 2. He realized Islam is universal, not racial. He learned that true Sunni Islam is not based on race. This led him to leave the Nation of Islam and follow Orthodox Islam. 3. He changed his views about white people. After seeing white Muslims treating him as a brother, he stopped believing that all white people were evil. 4. It changed his political message. After Hajj, he no longer preached racial separation. He called for global human rights. He believed racism, not skin color, was the real enemy. This made him a more influential international leader. Why Malcolm changed his last name to X. Before he became famous, Malcolm's last name was Little. He changed it to X for 2 reasons. 1. Little was the name given to his family by slave owners. He believed that last names of African American families were not their real names. They were names forced on them during slavery. So Little did not represent his true African identity. The X symbolized the unknown name that was erased by slavery. 2. X was a rejection of his slave name. The Nation of Islam taught that black Americans should remove their slave names. So the letter X replaced the lost African family name. Symbolic meaning of X. The name that was stolen. A sign of independence. A declaration of freedom from oppression.